Hey, we are Crash Karma,
and we'll see you at
keeping the shred alive.
Sleepy. Nikki, let's wake them up. Come on, do me a favor. Let's do it. 2, 3, 1.
There we go. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I'm your host, Steve Ricardo. We are here with Crash Karma. Can't believe it, in Vancouver, British Columbia, with Nikki and Rolf. So, first of all, thank you for coming to Vancouver. I've been following you guys for a while. You guys are just fucking amazing. Love what you guys do.
I'm having like an Italian thing going on.
I know, this is the European talking, right? So, welcome. How have you liked it so far? I know you guys have been to Toronto.
Yes, that was it. But this is our first time in Vancouver, and so far we're digging it. Very much. The rickshaw is a beautiful theater. It's kind of sketchy on the outside, but we're digging the vibe. It's okay.
It's like apocalyptic metal, right?
And it's okay. It's pretty. Everyone's pretty legit and chill, so I like that. It's not like LA aggro. People chasing after you, thus far.
But LA's
early.
cool. It's got a history of doing that, so that's cool. You know, Vancouver, we're known for smoking bud, going for a skateboard ride, and going into the Alps to go skiing.
Yeah.
So, but metal, we're trying to keep it alive, right? We are.
Yes.
How's the tour been going so far?
Amazing.
You good?
The tour has been going great. We've been on the road since March, basically.
Yeah. You guys have been on for a while.
This is now the very last 3 days.
Shows.
We play the day in Vancouver, tomorrow Seattle, and then San Diego, and then we go home.
Oh, sweet. For how long?
That's a good question. We're going to finish our new album,
Yes.
and as soon as that's done, I think the next run starts end of October.
Sweet. When's the album coming out?
That's a very good question. We're still contemplating on a title and on a date.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Since we're independent, we're doing everything ourselves. We got to make sure that we can put the right pieces in place in order to promote the album, and then we got to get the right momentum going.
Being that you guys are independent, which I love, I've been independent for the last 10, 15 years, doing everything yourself. In your perspective, can bands still do that today? Is it hard? How do you find it?
Of course. I mean,
have to,
it always depends on the situation, but sometimes I feel like if they don't do it, they can't make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It always depends on how much you sign away from the cake that's not even there. So, and we know how much we make right now. We can survive on this. So if we give somebody a percentage, this needs to be at least that much more in order to make the same amount.
Right.
And so, and I always look at other bands, but I feel like, yeah, that's a big band, they just broke, they're doing great, but you don't know what's going on the inside, and you feel like all these bands all have jobs. So they're not really actually making music, they're making music on the side and they have a good thing going, but they can't survive on that money alone. And that's why I feel like we are really fortunate because we can do what we do, we are our own bosses and we survive.
And I didn't turn off my phone.
It's good, it's okay, this is live, this is awesome. This is what I mean, it's tough. Like,
It's the
I work a
silence show
full-time
where I
job,
answer.
right? And a lot of us musicians work full-time jobs. So with that being said, it makes it a lot harder to cross the market.
Yes.
Can I go on tour? Am I going to sustain food and everything else? But if you've got a right mindset, and do things old school way, you go out.
I mean, in our case, we make 100%. We know what we put in and what we get out.
Perfect.
So that's all.
That makes a big difference.
Exactly.
Right? What are some of the hardest things you found lately in the last, say, year or two?
Being unemployed due to a pandemic,
Yeah.
and then we had to make the call, what are we going to do during the pandemic? Most bands did like the Patreon thing, where you have like your fans, collect money, but then you find yourself just making content for the people that already like you, but you cannot expand. And we made the decision that we said, you know what, we're not going to try to capitalize on our fans, we try to expand our fan base. So when we go back on the road, we started off better than we were before.
That's great.
We need to expand. So, but that put us in a tough position because we didn't make any money during the pandemic.
Yeah.
We played a few shows here and there, and then we made a T-shirt, and then we tried to have jobs on the side. Again, jobs on the side, just to make it through the pandemic. But now that the pandemic is over, it definitely paid off for us because there's definitely a bunch of bands who weren't as aggressive as we are, and so we cut our way through the noise and were able to reach a lot of new people.
Yeah. I mean, your marketing's been great. The minute I found out about you guys, I've been sort of hanging down and watching what you guys are doing. I went to school for analytics and how to read YouTube and how to build YouTube crowds. And watching both of you do this successfully is like, oh, this is impressive. Because you don't see the drive anymore.
Yeah.
You get a band that forms on January, and by June, they want to have a record deal. I'm like, dude, some of this shit takes 10 years, 5 years. You never get following. You guys have been just fantastic.
Persevere. Yeah.
Where are some of your influences you're pulling from for what you guys are doing lately?
Music-wise,
Anything,
wise.
people-wise.
I mean, I also played in a German band, a punk rock band.
Oh, cool.
And that's a very successful band over there in Germany, and it's also 100% independent. And that's how we know it can be done.
Yeah.
You don't need anybody. If you fit the right nerve and you get the right people involved, or not the right people involved, the right kind of people like you, then it will spread.
Support's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this is, I see both sides of the music business, where a company takes like $1 million and tries to break a brand and force it on to the people. And I was on the other side too, where I have a band and we didn't have any budget, and the people just came to the shows and the thing exploded. And it's because people like it.
It's raw.
Yes.
Right. It's not manufactured in a studio or a factory kind of thing.
For sure.
Right.
There's more longevity usually in those type of situations. When
big
you
time.
build it and you put the time into the building of this on your own, you're more likely to stay around, you're more likely to get fans that want to stay around. You know?
And that inspires us. What else inspires us is we do a lot of touring, and we see all deal with radio stations, venues, and everybody tries to get into, be the next big thing. And at one point we realized we're not the millionth band that tries to get on the radio. So one thing is you need to find your niche. You know, on the radio, if people want to listen to radio rock, they go to the Nickelback show or to Maverick show.
Which they are playing today, but I'm not going to say where.
So no, and that's all fine. That's their niche. That's what they do. But
Exactly.
in order for us to succeed, we need to pick up the other people. People come to our show who want to see the real deal. Two people who rock their asses off, and you see the sweat and you see the passion. Exactly. And this is so we try to stay away from here's the 3-minute radio single and every song sounds the same. It's like we need to create songs where we create moments, and people come to the show and they go home and they feel like, oh my god, this was a show that I watched tonight. And that's what we're doing. And we're also two people, and no other duo is having that approach. They're like, okay, we create a show. You know, we show is almost like a magic trick. Look here, and then something happens, and then over here is the next explosion, or the next guy falls up the stairs.
You got to keep them intrigued. People have a 30-second
For sure.
break.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And if they're not interested in 30 seconds, they're done.
Yeah.
And also we have to keep ourselves entertained.
That's the battle. That's the reason why we do this shit. Okay, influences. You as a drummer, who are some of your...
Growing up, like my favorite drummers were John Bonham, David Grohl, Vinnie Paul, what's his name from Deftones? I always forget. Chad Smith, Chad Sexton. So a lot of that kind of 90s kind of rock stuff. But the first was more John Bonham. He was always my favorite. And so that was my drumming stuff. But music-wise, I was kind of all over the map. And still am today. I love everything from electronic music to country, metal, you know, if it's good.
It's got a good beat.
Yeah, and you can't always listen to the same thing, you know.
No,
Especially for singing and stuff, we find our influences all over. We got into K-pop for a while, just to listen to something completely different than what we would ever do. And you know, you hear these melodies and there's something to it. And you can take that melody and bring it into something we do, and it adds a whole another style and freshness that we never would have thought of on our own.
That's awesome. That's the cross-pollination of different styles of music, and that's where the liberation comes from. Very different things.
And it's fun. It's just experimental, and sometimes it sucks royally, and you just let it go, you know, and that's that.
Awesome. And then you as a guitar player.
I grew up as a metal kid, you know, it was Kiss, AC/DC, and then thrash metal. So the right hand needs to be as fast as possible. And these days, I'm playing guitar and bass at the same time. So I listen to any genre, and I always think to myself, can I pull this off, playing guitar and bass at the same time? And I use a bunch of effects and on and off switches, and all kinds of bands inspire me. I listen, I like In Flames a lot, Soilwork, and a lot of Slayer, Metallica, all all the good shit. I mean, nothing unusual.
That's wicked. Well, that's the thing, right? You got to keep it at second level. And I know a lot of these guys that are closet players that just keep shredding, but unless you have the aptitude to bring something together, you're just going to stay in your bedroom.
Yeah.
So I always say, get the fuck out of your room and create something, right? That's number one.
Take the risk.
That's the
Yeah.
number one. Take the risk and get out there. Otherwise, you're never going to know what's going to happen to yourself. And you don't know. If you have that goal and that dream, accomplish it. Just push it. The whole reason how I started this is sitting doing COVID, doing nothing. I started contacting bands and interviewing them. You know, because doing anything, oh, it's COVID. What are we going to do? Shit, record a fucking album.
Yeah, there's plenty of shit to do.
Record an album, learn a song, write a song, write an album.
We have plenty of time, which as an artist you never have.
No.
Because we're always touring, writing, and we're in a very tight schedule. We actually have time to be creative and come up with new ideas and things in COVID. So it was kind of a blessing.
I mean, when COVID hit, we planned on being in the studio until June.
Yeah.
At home in Los Angeles, we have a little house that we converted to a studio. So we know we're just going to sit there until June. We release our album probably by fall and go on tour. We had a whole year of touring planned. COVID hit, and that was in March. And you know, from March until June, we still did what we did anyway. Yeah. We were hunkered down. But then we realized, okay, what are we going to do with the album? You know what? For us being a touring band, we have a product, and we need to capitalize on a product. And I cannot just upload something to Spotify so they get richer.
Yeah.
So once we had the album, we realized we cannot upload the album. Instead, let's take songs and release singles. So we rewrote some songs, wrote new songs, and always had this album and collected more songs and started releasing. So it's more like a pool that just drizzled from the bottom.
That's awesome.
That song's gone. That's why we did one for the album.
Yeah.
So the album now is different than it was 2 years ago,
Yeah.
of course. But then we watched a lot of Netflix. So we wrote a song about The Mandalorian, about Breaking Bad, about The Hammer, about Cobra Kai, and all kinds of stuff. So we were just creative in that.
Just the pop culture stuff was really, we're like, and this is what we like, so we want to let the people know who we are, what influences us.
Yes, and then we also started going down the TikTok rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about TikTok, I have to say, is there was only 30-second or 60-second videos. So let's not do a whole song, let's just do parts of songs we like. So we started with Megadeth, P-Cells, and then Anthrax, Caught in the Mosh. We did Metallica, Damage Incorporated, we did what else? Slipknot, In This Moment.
Motorhead. But the whole thing is we're not a cover band. So everyone's like, we want to see the whole thing. We're like, we're not a cover band. We're just doing this
grabs people's attention for a quick 30 seconds.
And it's fun.
And that was it.
If it's not fun for us, we're very much, we want to have fun. We want to experience. If we're not enjoying it, we're not doing it. We're not doing something just because you asked. We're not taking requests. We do what we love.
And we get a lot of attention, you know, Dino from Fear Factory. It's like, you should do a Fear Factory song. We're like, fucking do a Fear Factory song. So we did a Fear Factory song. And then we did Iron Maiden.
Request we did.
Exactly. I mean, Iron Maiden and that got 1 million hits. So definitely got a lot of exposure out of those little fun videos that we just
keep
do at
pushing
home.
the envelope.
Yeah.
That's it.
And enjoying it.
That's half the battle. That's the reason why you get into music, is to do this. My final thing, so I want to keep you guys can relax before the show. Any recommendations for anybody out there watching this?
Recommendations as far as...
Do this, don't do this.
Yeah,
yes, do this.
Leave your comfort zone. We are a two-piece, not because we planned on being a two-piece. We turned into a two-piece because fate just chose the way for us. And we had a lot of stuff going on and we couldn't pull through as a band, so we decided, I'm going to play bass and guitar at the same time. I built this instrument, and with this crazy girl, I can do it. And so we pulled through. Sometimes you don't make your destiny. Destiny chooses you to follow whatever crazy path it is.
Yeah.
And then it's do or die.
Exactly. And here we are.
Here we are.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You guys have been amazing. I thank you so much for your time. Subscribe. Their link will be down below. And if you're not at the show tonight, you're missing out hugely. So keep the shred alive.
See you next time.
Next
Keep the
time.
shred alive.
Yes. We're going to LA. See ya.